Hello, my friends. I'm a couple of minutes late because I was scrambling with the tech guys, still trying to work out all the wrinkles in this video production. I'm hoping, I'm going to check to make sure you can hear me. Yeah. Yep. So hello. It's Thursday afternoon. It's a little bit after 2 o'clock. Feeling good today. How about you? How are you? Come on in and have a seat. My name is Pastor Lou Kilgore. I have declared a moratorium at 2 o'clock on weekdays to sit and think and to sit and talk. And to talk if you're listening, and to talk if you're not listening. And it's created an interesting experience. I got a lot of conversation back yesterday about how this thing of talking and making conversation without any expectation of hearing a reply on the other side reminds me of prayer. And wow, like many of you identified with that, and sometimes I say things and you say to me, it's so nice to have a pastor that tells me that it's for them the same as it is for me. So yeah, it is. But I have to say, I've been surprised at how easy the conversation is for me with you in this environment. I know there's probably like a psychological study to it, right? We really withhold things from each other, but somehow you get people like me get in front of a camera and I start to talk, and I talk to you about the things that matter to me, really matter to me. There's a lot of brokers of goodwill running around trying to say that we have to keep a positive attitude, and I believe that. I think I talked, I don't know, it's been 2 months ago now, I talked about my father's experience of his interaction with the Tower of Power in Garden Grove, California, Dr. Robert Schuller. And his marriage of what's called pop psychology with Christian theology. Now let me back up and unpack that. Pop psychology just stays in the realm of what's fairly easy to understand and is sort of intuitive. And that is that if you're going to live your life today, you're probably better off if you can muster a good attitude. There's a metaphor that someone introduced me to a while ago, and ever since I first heard it, I really liked it. It was in a church leadership seminar, and the presenter just simply used this metaphor. He was talking about how the organization we were working for was trying to get their act together and trying to figure out what was next and what we were going to do next and what we were going to avoid. And he said there's a point, we said, when you come to a wall, you have to decide, even though the wall looks hard to climb and you might not be able to get over it, he said, there's a point at which you decide to throw your hat over the wall. It must be an old saying, because nowadays, let me back up. I think the point is, you have a hat, you care about it, you don't want to be parted from it, but the thing that will pull you over the wall is if you throw your hat over the wall. Now you're committed. Now you gotta go, because you don't want to lose your hat. And I said it must be old because I don't think hats mean that as much to people today, mostly. We have caps, baseball caps, and caps with sayings on them, and many of us have a lot of them, and I know we get attached to them, but I think hats were different. A hat might cost you dearly. And so if you're up against the wall and you throw your hat over the wall, you're more likely than not to overcome that wall, because you've got something on the other side that now you want to get to and you can't just walk away from. So that was the great metaphor in the leadership workshop. And I think pop psychology is like that. I think the idea is if you can cast a positive attitude, if you can dig around and find a positive hat, find something positive, throw it out there, throw it over the wall, throw it over the obstacle of a really bad day you're having, or a really big coronavirus that you've got to conquer and figure out how to live through. Throw your hat over the wall. Put something positive out there. And you will find that doing that will be like a tailwind that will move you through the experience. It gives you a boost. That's pop psychology. When Robert Schuller and Norman Vincent Peale was actually the originator of this, of marrying pop psychology and Christianity together, although Norman Vincent Peale was a much more serious, in the end, more serious kind of theologian, but the power of positive thinking. Positive thinking. And of course the assumption is that you're in control of your thinking. And so if you set your thinking to positive, you've thrown your hat over the wall. The experience for you is going to be, you're going to benefit from a drive. So where am I headed? Here's where I'm headed to. The news today is worse than it was yesterday. I'm involved up to my neck in this thing of kids in schools and safety for teachers and staff, and I'm involved. I go every day now to a preschool center, and I love those little kids. Some of them I met last year, some of them are brand new. They come from loving homes. Really, you can tell the kids are so full of warmth and love. They don't come from families that have a lot of money at all. Many of them come from really nice homes, but I'm sure they live paycheck to paycheck, and some of them don't. The paycheck doesn't make it. They work hard, and because they work hard and they're paying rent and they're trying to put good, nutritious food on the table, they don't have enough money. So they come to the school, and we have great staff. They're adults. Mostly, we have a few high school kids helping out, but they're adults, and they care about children, and they care about people's children. And good things are happening. But they're happening underneath masks and gloves and sanitizer and rituals of separation, and oh my goodness. Because it's really scary. And I went home for lunch, and on the news they're filling fuller information about this virus, coming from scientists and doctors who I trust. I don't know if you do, but I do. And they're saying children are not just carrying this virus, they're getting this virus. And when they get it, it's leaving permanent damage in the children. And then, of course, there's the worry about the teachers. I care about these teachers. They work for not a whole lot of money, and what they give in return is love and care and compassion. And I want to hope it's safe. I'm not going to just charge forward. I want to have a positive attitude. I've got my hat over the wall. It's over the wall. It is. We have to do well in this. We have to do this. Because life requires it. Love requires it. But safety is really, really important. And theologians always wondered what was the relationship between God and government. And most classical theologians, I mean the people that write the big thick books and that you go to seminary and you study and they write systematic theologies and everything, they've always treated government, that the importance of government, that God established government mainly for one thing. One thing. Government was established to provide safety to the human family. Safety. That's the God-authorized function of government. To see to it that the community was safe. In the end, if you read the story of the Hebrew Bible in the beginning with Abraham and Sarah, and the story as it develops, even after the Exodus and Moses, and they have this land that they've gotten, and they're trying to farm, and they're trying to be productive and generous in the world and be a blessing in the world, and neighboring armies keep raiding in and destroying their crops and taking their money, and they just get invaded over and over again. And so the people say to God, how are we supposed to live this way? And God says, well, when the time comes, you can raise up militias to defend yourself. And the people say, it's not working. So they had a brilliant idea. Let's get a king, they said. And God said, I'm going to tell you right now, a king is going to have other agendas besides your safety. A king is going to be interested in glory. And a king is going to want to amass lots of money. And so a king is going to start taxes. And a king is going to tax you, and then in order to collect the taxes and to keep everybody in control, a king is going to want an army. And then the king is going to come to your door and take your sons and put them in the army. And I'm not making this up. This is the story of the Bible. This is the chronology of the people with the Bible. And the prophets said the purpose of government is not for the building of any one person's empire or any one person's wealth or fame or popularity. It's for the protection of the people. To protect. So when I interact with government, mostly my interactions with government are all around safety. Inspections for the preschool all the time are always about safety. Fire inspections, electrical inspections, all kinds of inspections about health and safety. Health, safety, like road safety, it's all of it, according to the biblical view, the only legitimate function of government. And God does put government in place. God does. But the only reason is for the protection, for the safety of the people. And I'm saying this from a biblical point of view because I'm trying not to pick up one of the polarized views of the current time we're living in. It's so pressurized, you have to be careful who you say what to, or someone's going to take a swing at you. There's one virus which is in our body, and there's another virus which is in our spirit. And I'm not really sure which one's doing more damage. But I do believe this. Government is to see to the protection, not just of a broad sweep of people. But the biblical prophets go on and they say, in particular, the government's role of protection is to protect the weak, the vulnerable, the sick, the widows, the orphans. That's the list. That's what government exists for. If you're going to quote the Bible to me. And we do a lot. We still think that our faith, our practice of Christianity is a biblical Christianity. The cord is being stretched. The weak, the sick, the poor, which are always included with the widows because that's what happened to women in particular. When their legitimate wage earner died, they were poor. Defending the poor. It's the role of government. And if you search the scriptures and you read the prophets, Elijah, or Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, if you read them, we should almost put like an ink in it that changes temperature as the writer is getting more and more upset or calm. And when they're really upset, then the letters would turn, red. And if you read through the prophets, you find that the only places where the letters get red, where the prophet gets hot, is when the prophet is standing eye to eye, toe to toe, face to face with government leaders, some who say they're Christians, or not Christians, some who say they are Hebrews, and they're standing eye to eye, toe to toe with them, and the prophet is holding up the record of that government's ability, willingness, history, practice of defending their purpose. About this time I always turn towards what I said yesterday, which is I'm going to make my prayers known. I'm making them known to you. You can hear them. I don't really care what your political approach is and how you think we get there. How do we best defend the weak, the sick, the poor, the children? How do we best do it? I've always believed that politics was an argument in the end about how to do that best, how to really accomplish it. My prayer is that we can move back to that priority today and measure our effectiveness and change course if we need to, based on how the weak, the indefensible are faring in our world right now, and they are not doing well. They are not. So, Lord, strengthen our governments at every level. Let our vision be clear. Let the divisions that are clouding our eyes fall away. And let the mission of our lives as human beings, as your children, be clear so that we can defend each other. Support the role that you've created for governments in the world. Thanks for listening today. For whatever it's worth for you, I hope it stirs up those muscles of faith, the ones that are so hard to exercise sometimes. I hope you find yourself in places that are bringing hope and security to you. I've got my hat thrown over the wall for you and for me, and for our survival, and for the survival of the world we know and that we love. I'm all in. We just need God to help us keep our focus, and especially for the little ones. So say a prayer, will you? You don't know them. Maybe I'll start bringing in some pictures. Say a prayer for the little ones that are in school. They come sometimes early. They come as early as 7:45 in the morning. Sometimes they're not picked up until 6 o'clock at night. And they go home to loving households. People, adults who are dead tired from hard work. They love their kids. And they've put them in a very, very safe place. And we've accepted the responsibility of keeping them safe. And I pray for them. I pray for their safety, for their well-being, and for the well-being of the family members that are going out to work. Oh God, shelter us. All right, I've run over my time today, but I love being with you. I love this space and this time. So I'll see you tomorrow. I certainly hope that you aren't sitting there trying to read my lips, because that was not a fun day. God bless you, my friends, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.